again, everybody. I'm back, and it's a fresh new week. Yes, welcome to another episode of VAR and Espresso, episode 22. Apparently, you are joining myself and the lovely Leo live from France. How are you, Leo?
I'm fine, thanks. And you, Daniel?
Yes, fairly decent, actually, thank you. Okay, so obviously I wasn't here for the weekend, so I never got an opportunity to pick apart the quarterfinals with you guys. Now, obviously, the main talking point is that I got all four of my predictions correct.
Yeah. So I think you didn't watch the yesterday's show because I made you a shootout.
Oh, thank you. I'll be honest. I actually did watch yesterday's show, but I did skip parts because I thought you weren't going to mention it.
I did.
I thought that was if they were going to mention it, it was going to be then, so I skipped ahead. Okay, but yes. But in all seriousness, I mean, nothing too shocking. I mean, to be fair, I just picked the favourites, didn't I, this time? There was some really interesting incidents, though, regarding the end of the Real Madrid game, the fact that Dean Huijsen's now suspended for the semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah. Paris Saint-Germain having two men sent off very unnecessarily, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Theo Hernandez one is a bit unfortunate, really, and probably should have been a red card. Yeah. But more to the point that he's not.
It's Lucas.
Oh, Lucas, sorry.
AC
Milan. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I always get this mixed up. Thank you for the correction. Yes, but he's not a starting player for Paris Saint-Germain. So less is it, but William Paco is, and that's an issue for centre defence for Paris Saint-Germain. But then, if Paris Saint-Germain are missing one, Real Madrid are missing one, perhaps that'll balance itself out. But you were saying that you wanted to start with looking forward to the Fluminense Chelsea game. Because I wasn't here, why don't you tell me what were the big things in regards to like what the reason Chelsea would win this match and the reason why Fluminense would win this match?
In my opinion, can you just start and I will?
Yes. Okay, that's absolutely fine. It happens. Yes. So to recap, Fluminense defeated Al Hilal 2-1, and as we discussed last week, we thought that Al Hilal, because they're both counter-attacking teams, both happy to defend and wait for their opportunities, they would cancel each other out. But Al Hilal didn't seem able to dictate play like Fluminense could, who have won with more possession. So Al Hilal seem to be relying on set pieces quite a bit, and which Fluminense mostly defended quite well, but of course they did concede from one. But Fluminense ended up winning with a couple of fantastic goals, especially the first one, such a clean strike. So yes, I think what I would point at is why Fluminense might win is the adaptability. They are able to defend and sit off the ball and be happy to just let the other team have it, while then also choosing the moments to counterattack. Having said that, they are also able to have possession. They have the technical players to control the ball when they need. So they're not one trick pony. They are able to speed things up, slow things down. And then and also I don't know if you've seen throughout the tournament. So they've played, what is it now? 5 matches in the tournament thus far. They've scored 8 goals in 5 matches and only conceded 3. And 2 of those were from set pieces. So again, it really very little given away in open play from Fluminense. But again, only 8 goals scored. So very exact. Leo, you just tell me, is that all clear?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about Fluminense then? So I'm not just monologuing.
I can talk about Fluminense. First, you noted the Martinelli's goal in the quarterfinal. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. But he will miss the game against Chelsea. He's a starter for Fluminense, so it's like a harsh coup for Fluminense. And which is funny is that the team is the 3rd Brazilian team Chelsea will face in that tournament. So they are now used to play against that kind of
lost
opponent.
1-1.
Yeah. So maybe if you think they need a victory to complete the treble, maybe they did, but they will. But yeah, if we are just more serious, I think, as you said, Fluminense have the weapons to embarrass Chelsea, but Chelsea has experience, very good experience. I think it will make the difference, and the freshness of their players also, because yeah, they went to the European Cup final, Chelsea Conference League final, but as we said in the previous shows, their players have rested because they did a lot of turnover, and I think it will count at this stage of the tournament, especially when Fluminense have their championship to play after it. So it's they will need to find a good balance between this tournament, which obviously count for South American teams, as we saw during the whole tournament, and the rest of the championship, because it's also very important for a club like that. So I think it will be a very intense match in the beginning, in the end of the game. Why? Because Fluminense have scored 4 of the 8 goals from the 70th minute. So they're a team. They are not in the action; they are in the reaction. They always want to finish well their
That's a really good point. And actually, looking at the stats for all the different teams, there's a fair bit of consistency in that. Paris Saint-Germain have scored 12 goals. I think, just double check. Have scored 12 goals. Real Madrid have scored 11. Chelsea have scored 12. Fluminense have scored 8. But like you say, it's as if they wait. It's almost like they're relying on the physicality, on the energy levels, that's really interesting. That's a really good point. Actually, it's also interesting that you pointed out that Martinelli is going to be suspended for the game, because that's a theme throughout the other teams as well. Because obviously, from this point out, if you had a yellow card, it's now wiped, so you don't pick up that kind of suspension for the final, I think.
No. And Juan Freitas too will miss for Fluminense.
Yes, but I was going to say, it's similar to all the teams. So all the teams are missing, I think, at least 2 players through suspension. So we're looking at Chelsea now. Chelsea are going to miss Liam Delap.
Yeah.
They're going to miss
Levi Colwill.
Levi Colwill, absolutely. And there's somebody else, I can't remember. I think Caicedo's coming back, isn't he, for the game?
Yeah,
he's just served his suspension.
Yeah, he was red carded.
I think there's another one for Chelsea, but I can't quite remember. But also Chelsea have obviously all these new arrivals anyway. They have new signings arriving left, right, and centre. So with Liam Delap now suspended, they have this choice of either going back to Nicholas Jackson, who has obviously been suspended for a while, but to be fair, in the first match he was excellent. Or do you play João Pedro, the untested within Chelsea, but actually was very impressive when he came on against Palmeiras?
In my opinion, if I were Maresca, I would go with Nicholas Jackson, because I can't say it would be a nonsense to land João Pedro in this game, but if you do that, you risk to lose Martinez for the rest of the season. If he stays at Chelsea after the mercato, because you know that Liam Delap is a new player for Chelsea. He already took the place of Martinez. Now João Pedro, who arrived 2-3 days ago, I think. He joined Chelsea in the United States. He doesn't know his new colleagues, and I think put him putting him in the starting lineup would be not a mistake, but it would be difficult to Nicholas Jackson, and all the more because Jackson didn't play bad during the tournament. As you said, he had a good group stage when he played.
Well, yeah, it's hard to
think about
judge,
that?
really, isn't it? Because obviously he got sent off in the second game after coming on for 6 minutes. You know, so like the first game he was fantastic, and then in those 6 minutes, who knows? And then he was suspended for 3 matches.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just quite funny. But yeah, still a choice for Enzo Maresca. Yeah, it is interesting. But like I say, so even though you've got Fluminense who have the lowest number of goals scored, but Chelsea have conceded the most out of the remaining teams. Although, albeit 3 of those were against Flamengo. But they do only have 2 clean sheets in their 5 matches. Fluminense have 3. Paris Saint-Germain have 4. They've only conceded 1 goal this whole tournament, and that's when they lost against Botafogo. Concerningly, yeah, Real Madrid have only had 2 as well. But to be fair, again, they've been sort of juggling which centre-backs to use because obviously one was suspended, then someone came in, and someone else is now suspended. And yeah, so you get the feeling that this game could be actually very back and forth, simply because Chelsea will almost certainly score goals, but likely to concede goals, especially with Levi Colwill not being available.
I think Cucurella will have one of the most important game of the tournament because he will be directly opposed to John Arias, who has been having a really good tournament. Cucurella had been good during the quarterfinal, very good to be honest, and now he will face one of the most informed forward of the competition. So it will be an interesting duel, and I think Moises Caicedo's comeback is also important for Chelsea. I don't know what you think about that, but
no, it has to be said. Sorry to interrupt, but the last 6 months of the season, him and Fernandes finally showed signs of why Chelsea paid so much money for them both. They finally started to develop that relationship, that synergy between the two of them.
Yeah, and Cole Palmer also seems to regain a kind of form. After
that first goal was terrific, wasn't it? The movement to take from, I think it was the lap ahead of him, the movement to take 2 defenders away with him, but also Palmer's single touch took him away from another. So it looked like in one move he got rid of 3 defenders. It was kind of beautiful.
I think it was more important than the shot he took after. The way he turned his body and he took the ball on his feet was. It did the goal because every defenders were erased from the action. So yeah, he has been good since the start of the tournament. He had a difficult season last season, even if I think he assisted twice in the European Cup, but he wasn't really good in that game, and now he seems to be better, so it's good for him and for Chelsea. But and as you said, I think the Chelsea's defense will be will have to be perfect, because who will play in the central? Benoit Badiashile, I think, and Chalobah. So
yeah, I mean, I think Trevor Chalobah was playing. He's been playing so far. He's been Levi Colwill's partner, hasn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, it will be quite interesting. And we talked about the way Fluminense scored mainly during the second half and at the end of the game, and that's one of the reasons why Thiago Silva and Inacio are the more talked about players of Fluminense, because they rely on their backline to then attack their opponent. So it will be very, very interesting. And if I were Chelsea, I would love to start with a goal in the first 30 minutes, because the more the minutes will advance, the more it will be difficult for them to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you mean. Were you disappointed at all by Palmeiras, considering obviously before the Chelsea game that again they'd only scored 5 goals in 4 games, but defensively they were on it.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to be quite so solid against Chelsea. Now, to be fair, the Cole Palmer goal was a bit special, but Chelsea did regularly cause them issues, and they were able to pull them apart. Yeah, were you surprised that Palmeiras didn't offer a bit more, weren't more solid, weren't more sort of dangerous going forward? I mean, also it has to be said as well, the Estevao goal was a terrific finish, but it also came out of nothing.
Yeah. As we said 3 or 4 days ago in the show, I thought Palmeiras would kicked out Chelsea from the tournament because they seduced me from what they have shown since the start of the tournament, and I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't find they put pressure on Chelsea. They put less impact than some of their previous games. It was physically quite difficult. Technically, they had issues also. Estevao, as you said, scored a beautiful goal, very beautiful, because the way he shot and and from where he shot was exceptional. It required a lot of technical abilities, and I think Chelsea deserved the win, but I was kind of disturbed by Palmeiras' performance.
Having said that, it does appear that, and I think this is something we've discussed several times. It does appear that Chelsea have been improving game on game, which you can't say about every single team. Similar with Real Madrid, minus the last 10 minutes of that match against Dortmund, in that they have each match has shown something new, something different, but something better. Whether that's a change of starting lineup, or that's a change of tactical system, whatever it is. Now, to be fair, Chelsea, when they lost 3-1 to Flamengo, the next match were against Esperance Tunis. So winning 3-0 isn't exactly the biggest surprise, but it was still nice and controlled. And against Benfica, they were 5 minutes away from having a 1-0 victory. That would have been so controlled, very, very easy. Then, of course, the 2-hour delay, Benfica come back, score a penalty. But Chelsea still managed to get through that. And also then impressively, because obviously once, I think, did Benfica get a red card in that match?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, so like the fact is in extra time, Chelsea scored 3 goals in extra time. So that's fresh legs, that's new impetus. So they have more to them, and the fact that beat Palmeiras quite fairly easily or serenely, I think surprised me. So yeah, I get the feeling that Chelsea are building, and Fluminense, they could do something.
But to be honest, Chelsea, even if you're right that they are better and better match after match, they don't impress me yet. I can't say. We were talking about that yesterday, about a potential final between Chelsea and Real Madrid or PSG, and I said that if they face PSG, they don't have any chance to win this game, and because the difference between both teams seems to me, in my opinion, very, very big.
That's very fair. The only, and actually, in spirit, I'd actually agree with you. I think the only thing I'd point out is last season in the Premier League. If you consider, say, Arsenal played Paris Saint-Germain 3 times and really outplayed them 3 times. If you go by statistics, expected goals, and Arsenal, if you take the record again from Arsenal and the other teams in the top 6, like the biggest teams, I think Chelsea had a better record than Arsenal. So the playing the big games, which I think surprised a lot of people. Chelsea's issue last year came from not being able to defeat teams they should be dominating and being caught on the break and stuff like that. Whereas, whereas the game plans for the bigger games, they seem to be a lot more solid. They just seem to change things. And actually, the way that Maresca plays, like the slow build up, the patient in play thing, kind of takes the edge off certain matches. So, I mean, hypothetically, if they're playing Real Madrid, that actually might suit it very nicely because, well, both teams, because Real Madrid like to sit off currently, and yeah, that'd be quite a slow match. Paris Saint-Germain, obviously, them with the pressing would be interesting, but then also, again, Maresca seems to have slightly different setups. But anyway, so let's look at Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid then. Paris Saint-Germain were lucky to get past Bayern. I mean, Bayern had 2 goals disallowed, rightly so. It's not controversial. But you are talking about the first goal, which the goalkeeper slipped as he was trying to cover his space, and it was. I mean, it's a lovely strike from Doué because obviously taking it early, he wrong-footed the defenders and the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But also a slightly fortunate thing considering the goalkeeper also slipped.
In my opinion, Doué's goal was kind of Mbappé-esque goal, because I don't know if you saw that, but Mbappe's specialty is to close his ankle just before shouting. He did it a lot of times. It's his signature move, I think. I remember against Red Bull Leipzig in the Champions League. He also did on Manuel Neuer versus Bayern. He did it a lot of time, and it was the first thing that struck me during watching this.
It's also quite a new thing in the last few years where strikers seem to be aiming at the near post a lot more, which is something that Mbappe seemed to do before anyone else. The sort of cutting inside and unleashing a quick shot at the near post, catching the goalkeeper off guard.
And just talking about that game, I thought it was quite interesting to see PSG, so a team with a lot of that put a lot of pressure on the opponent, being pressured by its opponent, because Bayern, I think, during the first half, before Musiala's unfortunate injury, were better in the recovering, in the pressure. They were higher on the pitch than PSG. They recovered more balls. They were quite efficient, Bayern.
And actually, it might be the first time we've seen in a long time someone getting the better of Nuno Mendes at left back, because Michael Olise was really good. And consider in the last few months, obviously, Paris Saint-Germain have played Liverpool, so Mo Salah. They played Arsenal with Saka. So having these players coming off that right wing and these dangerous attacking players, and Nuno Mendes has been able to shackle them all. And yet Michael Olise got a bit of joy out of him. Why do you think it was?
I think Michael Olise is the second best player at Bayern Munich this season. He's been extraordinary during the season. He has a lot of. He's unpredictable because he has both feet. He can do everything he wants. We saw that against Nuno Mendes. And I just want to recall that Lionel Messi in the second half versus Inter Miami versus Paris Saint-Germain caused damage also to Nuno Mendes, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there was a context, of course.
Yeah.
And
context is always important.
Yeah. And just to get back on Michael Olise, is a constant threat for the opponent, because he has something. When he come back to in the box, he's extremely dangerous on his left foot. is extremely dangerous. He scored a lot of goals by curving the ball near post. He can dribble. He can also run, because it's important for a winger to run, because we now want a winger to make a lot of 1v1 against the defenders. And Michael Olise can run, even if he is close to his opponent. He can also pass. He has a terrific passing quality. I think he's one of the best player in Europe last season, to be honest.
No, I understand. And sort of Paris Saint-Germain coming up against Real Madrid. You do wonder about the last time Paris Saint-Germain faced a team set up in 3-5-2, sort of that 3-5-2 formation, or three at the back rather, was Inter, and that didn't go very, very well. Yeah. But you'd imagine Real Madrid would, and Xabi Alonso would have a specific plan. So despite playing three at the back, because obviously now they have no Dean Huijsen, they will almost certainly be playing as centre backs, Tony Rudiger, Tchouaméni, who is obviously a defensive midfielder rather than a centre back, but still does the job.
Asensio will be here,
and then Raul Asensio is now back from a suspension, so will be their back three. And that's not a great back three, especially when you consider who they're up against. So what do you think Real Madrid could do to counteract Hakimi and Nuno Mendes? Because obviously they're going to be running riot down the wings.
Yeah, in my opinion, Dean Huijsen is a terrible loss for Real Madrid, because with his passing quality, he could have prevented PSG's pressure on the Real Madrid block. And now they will need to find a way to counter that pressure. Against Dortmund, Aurélien Tchouaméni as a defensive midfielder, because it was really a number 6. He was really good at this position. It's his natural position, I think. I don't really like him in the back line, but with Xabi Alonso's system, he will have to play in the back line, back three against PSG. It will be also interesting, because we all know that Trent Alexander-Arnold's main quality is not to defend, and especially when opponents are like Nuno Mendes or Achraf Hakimi. Achraf Hakimi will cause him a lot of. No, it's Nuno Mendes. Who will cause him a lot of troubles. And I who will play left? Fran Garcia.
Fran Garcia has played every game so far, I think.
And he's been good since also the start of the tournament, because I think Xabi Alonso is the perfect manager to reveal his qualities. As we saw, he can. Is very offensive.
Actually, this is something I was going to jump on. Because obviously, what we saw in their match against Juventus, for example, where the first half Madrid weren't that great, and actually Juventus were having Koulibaly peeling off to the left to join Yildiz, and they were targeting Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that caused Real Madrid a lot of issues. However, in the second half, the two wing backs were much higher up, forcing Juventus to sort of just drop back a bit, and that's what bought the space, right? So you are looking at Real Madrid basically being very brave in saying, okay, to counteract Paris Saint-Germain, we're going to keep our wing backs high, but then you may not have the pace in your centre backs, in like say Raul Asensio or whoever's playing on the outside of the right rather than the outside of the left, which I think is Rudiger at the minute. Trusting your centre backs to be able to cover the space, because that's very dangerous. So having the confidence and the bravery to stick Trent, as he is now on his back, and Fran Garcia high up and push Paris Saint-Germain's wing backs back. Yeah, it is a very exciting prospect for a match, isn't it?
But don't you think Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso especially can decide to put a 4-4-2 against PSG?
Yeah, I suppose so. He didn't actually start the tournament with three at the back, did he? He actually started with four. But I suppose it's just one of those things. We'll see close to the time, see if anybody is back from injury, see if there's any news. But either way, that's going to be. I think they're two really balanced semi-finals. The unfortunate thing is, I think what we're going to get is a very unbalanced final, regardless of the setup.
Yeah.
But that is the Club World Cup. I mean, historically speaking, which is now the Intercontinental Cup, it's always been more or less Europe against South America, and is a bit unbalanced whenever that happens. I think only South American team has only beaten one team in the last one European team in the last 20 odd years, and I think that was Liverpool in 2005, 2006. I might be wrong about that. I think we're going to get terrific semi-finals, and then perhaps a fairly predictable final. Shall we move on to the Women's Euros? Unless you have anything else to say about the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
So
you can. No, sorry. You can go on the Women's Euros.
Okay, so we have our first quarterfinalist. So Group A played their second round of fixtures yesterday. Norway beat Finland 2-1, and so Norway have won the group. So they are currently on 6 points. Second are Switzerland after they beat Iceland 2-0. And third are Finland. So Finland and Switzerland both have 3 points. Norway have 6, but they've beaten both Finland and Switzerland. And there's the head-to-head rule. So Norway have won the group with a game to spare, which is terrific for them. It's slightly confusing because actually in both games they weren't the best team. But as I said in the preview before the tournament, like their attacking talent is so good. I think someone asked me recently, who do you think the most underperforming team at the minute? And as a rogue suggestion, I said Norway's women's team because their front three, they've got the starting Chelsea winger on the left, starting Barcelona winger on the right. They've got former winner of the Ballon d'Or up front. They've got Champions League winner Marnum in the number 10. They've got in a defensive midfielder Leon player who used to play for Barcelona, Engen. So you've got this incredible selection of like players in attack and midfield, and yet they don't really seem to have a tactical identity apart from give it to the wingers and sort of they'll make something happen. Did you see any of their games?
I saw the France versus England game on Saturday.
France were impressive. France were very, very impressive, weren't they?
To be honest, I think you know a lot more about women's football than I do. But was it? I have a question for you. Was it predictable that France caused so much troubles to England? Because I think they were dominant when you see their 2 goals. Both came from from recoveries or English loss of the ball. They were harder on their opponent. I don't think English defenders were very.
Truthfully, England have been on a sort of downward trajectory since the World Cup 2 years ago. There does seem to be this sort of suggestion of stagnation because essentially this is, apart from 1 or 2 players, this is the same lineup that started at the World Cup, and also most of the team that started or were heavily involved in the Euros 4 years ago. So this is a core of players that have been together for at least 4 years. And in the build-up to this tournament, I mean, they've not been playing badly. It's not as if we're talking about a complete collapse.
Yeah.
But and there have been impressive victories. They've drawn 0-0 away at Germany. They beat Spain only a couple of months ago. So they're good results against big teams, but they've also lost against Belgium. There are these vulnerabilities now where before there weren't. They were dominant and they were commanding performances, and they seem to have lost that particular edge. And so when you're coming into games against France, who, if you look at the world rankings, they should be defeating teams like France. They should be defeating teams like the Netherlands. Difficult teams, difficult matches, but they should still be doing that with the quality of players they do. But they don't seem to have the momentum. They don't seem to have the speed of thought. They don't seem to have that natural cohesion as a team. Whereas France have absolutely got momentum. That's their 9th victory in a row, I think. So when they were coming into the tournament, you saw like, okay, building. Yeah, so I think it was not predictable as such, but I made France favourites for the match, just for that reason.
I think the difference between the teams from in that game, because England had more possession, have more possession than France. It was what made the difference was the way France stung England. I think it was more vertical. The Sandy Baltimore's goal illustrates it perfectly. They wanted it more because even if it was kind of lucky, because I don't know who the defender who put the ball back on her feet was, but it's that kind of situation. It happened because a player wants it to happen, because they are just hungrier for the ball. And we talked about Estevao's goal sooner, but Baltimore goals too was exceptional in really difficult angle.
I would probably point out though that obviously this could all have been very different, because obviously England had a goal ruled out very early on. For an offside, I still don't quite understand why it was offside.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
And obviously we're talking like inches at this point. But still, like, that's just luck, isn't it? That's not anything. So obviously the flip of the coin, goes the other way, and suddenly England lead and they can just defend. Yeah, I think as well, part of the reason I was talking about stagnation and sort of having the same core group of players as 4 years ago, basically the exact same starting lineup as 2 years ago, minus Mary Earps, and the left back. Yeah, I think a conversation that's been going on for quite a while is Lucy Bronze at the right back slot, because without doubt she's been one of the best players in the world for a long time. I mean, look at some of the clubs she's played for. There's a reason why she's been playing at the top of the game. She's now 34, I think, and she's still playing for Chelsea. She's still at the top of the game. But realistically, there haven't been any challenges to the right back slot for England women. And we saw a couple of times in the World Cup, most notably in the final, it was her mistake and her being caught out of position that led to the goal, the single goal in the World Cup final. And today you saw it as well for the opening goal, I think it was, where she was caught out of position. And her attacking instincts are what makes her so great. She's such quality on the ball. But now, possibly because of being in her 30s, also because the tactical system doesn't support it, there's not that support behind her. So when she is out of position, and that is going to happen because she expects to go forwards, we are going to get caught out. And I say we because obviously we're supporting England in this one. Yeah, so that's something to sort of keep an eye on. I suppose Niamh Charles is in the squad, I think, to cover that as well. I mean, nominally she plays as the left-sided, but she's right-footed, so expecting to probably challenge for a spot at some point. But it does also mean that the next match is a must-win for England as well, or rather must not lose. But yeah, I think they should be beating the Dutch team. They have a better squad. The Dutch have a handful of very, very dangerous players, but England should be winning this. However,
Miedema's goal was exceptional. Yeah.
I mean, she's always been a top quality forward, hasn't she?
I think I read it was her 100th goal with Netherlands.
I don't have that data with me, but I would believe that she's potent, isn't she? She scores goals everywhere. Yeah, it's kind of astonishing that Arsenal let her go when they did, and she's gone to Manchester City and continues scoring goals.
Yeah. Hello, Pedro.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Hello, Dan. Pretty good, thank you.
We're just talking about the women's Euros. Yes, we were just talking before we went on to the England-France game. We went on to Norway have made it into the quarterfinals. The first team is the quarterfinals, and also Iceland are the first team eliminated. Have you watched the Norwegian matches, and what's impressed you about them?
What impressed me yet so far, we didn't have a draw. Only victories or losses, not a single draw. And I'm surprised with Iceland elimination, because in the previous game they got a red card, and for that reason they could equalize them. The game, it's a surprise because I think they have a decent ranking considering the human soccer. And France did well to beat England, so it's a huge edge, because I think in that group everybody will beat Wales, and I think France is really in a good position to go through also. And for today we have Portugal against Italy and Spain against Belgium. It's as I said before, if Italy or Spain win the matches, they are automatically qualified.
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously we've got the head-to-head rule with the group stage, so hence why Norway have won the group, despite the fact they're only 3 points ahead.
Yes,
but it does set up, even though one of the last matches in Group A is Norway against Iceland, which is a dead rubber, with one already winning the group, one being eliminated. The other one is fantastic, because obviously you've got the host nation, Switzerland, who have never made it to the quarterfinals before, never got out of the group stage of a tournament, and they're facing Finland. Switzerland only need a draw to get out of the group stage. But that's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, isn't it? Because so far the home crowd have been really behind their team. I mean, the opening fixture was 34,000. This fixture was 29,000. You know, like these are huge. These are big numbers, all getting behind the Swiss team.
Okay. And I don't know if you will both agree with me, but Switzerland really deserved their 2-0 win yesterday. It was a complete domination from the Switzerland team with a lot of occasions. There is the player from Lyon who has been very, very good. She hit the post on a terrible strike. They were very good, actually. What did you think about that game, Daniel?
I completely
against Iceland.
I've been a bit so in the preview I wrote. I pointed out that Iceland are actually, believe it or not, are ranked highest in this group. I think they're 13th in the world currently. 14th, sorry. And Switzerland were bottom, 23rd. So we're talking Iceland should be the strongest team in the group. However, before coming into the tournament, they'd only won one match in 10 games. And that was a friendly against Serbia. You know, so we're talking about a team that's really lost. We mentioned momentum earlier, Leo. Really lost momentum. Their tactical direction seems to have completely gone. They basically rely on set pieces entirely. So Jonsdottir, who is one of their quickest, most skilled players, she also takes their long throws, which are very, very dangerous, and actually led to I think was it Vigusdottir hit the crossbar in the 10th minute. And so if that goes in, obviously that changes the context of the game. Another Icelandic player actually hit the crossbar from a free kick from 25 yards. It was a fantastic hit, and it clipped the top of the crossbar. So they did hit the woodwork twice. But you're right, Switzerland were completely in control with the dominant team, and they deserved to make the breakthrough. And it was a lovely move as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Pedro, did you watch this game?
No, I just watched the recap. I'm glad that the stadium was full.
Yeah.
If it was not sold out, it was almost. I was checking that a lot of Switzerland players already play abroad, already play in different countries, Italy, in very different countries. So they are players with international experience in their own clubs, and it's catching because I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I'm surprised with this 2-0 victory against Iceland. To be honest,
I would give special credit to the Volti is the sort of defensive midfielder for Switzerland and Arsenal. She doesn't get as much game time as she used to at Arsenal. And to be fair, it's a packed squad for Arsenal. They're filled with terrific midfielders. But Volti controlled midfield. And she did so in the first game as well. You see how well she's able to I know it sounds basic, but just taking one pass and spreading passes out to the right wing, out to the left wing where they're dangerous. But also it was her tackle that led to the first goal. She saw the keeper played it out to the Icelandic defensive midfielder, and Volti snapped into the tackle and quickly played the ball through to Schertenlieb. And again, she just heads up one quick through ball, and Reuteler is through and goal. Reuteler had a hell of a match in the first game as well. She was so excited. She hit the post. She conceded the penalty. She missed a chance late on. But you could see just like the quality in her, and this match she was fantastic. But the thing is, we say Switzerland were very impressive, but Finland have been very impressive. They controlled their first match against Iceland. They were in control. They deserved the win until they sat up at the end. They arguably they were the better side against Norway.
Yeah. As you said, Norway has a really strong team, and it was interesting to see Finland because they get the possession, they shot more on targets. It was a real opposition.
The greater XG as well.
Yeah, it was, and actually they put more shots on target than shots off target. So it shows that they had a lot of chances, and it's interesting to see that kind of game.
Well, what's interesting as well is because obviously the winner of Group A, Norway, will play the runner-up of Group B, and obviously in that group, what you didn't want to do is finish second in Group A, because then you'd almost certainly play Spain. But in Group B, obviously you're looking at either Italy, Belgium, or Portugal, and currently it's Italy in second place. They've got third. But chances are Norway will play. Well, it's not Italy just yet, but it is such a difference between finishing second and first, because obviously if you're playing Spain now, Switzerland against Spain, that would be a wonderful quarterfinal. But also the home crowd, you can imagine that would actually lift Switzerland a little bit. You would expect Spain to win, but it wouldn't just be a walk in the park. Maybe the atmosphere would get to them. But also again signifies how essential it is winning your group, because you avoid teams like Spain, like Germany in Group C, almost certainly.
Pedro talked about the fact that the stadiums were full, and especially against Switzerland. And the thing I noted is that they were also colorful, because we saw a lot of jerseys. It's not always the case when you watch a game, and it's visually it's really good to see that. And I think it bring really something to the people watching on TV, and it's really great that people really play the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Are you guys going to be watching the games later? Because obviously today you've got Spain against Belgium, Italy against Portugal. This is Portugal's big opportunity. I think if Italy win, then obviously both Portugal and Belgium are out, assuming obviously Spain beat Belgium. Do you think, having watched Portugal in the last match, now again, to be fair, it was against Spain, do you think they have a chance against the Italians?
I hope they play better than in the last game. Italy, it's ranking among the 10 best national teams. If it is not in top 10, it's very close. So they are more stronger. They have a better record. I don't know. Let's see if Kika Nazare and the other good girls show up today.
Well, I mean, again, give Portugal their credit. Like, again, so in the past 10 matches, they have drawn against England. They've beaten Belgium, who are in this group as well. If they could squeeze a draw out of this and beat Belgium, they have a real chance of going through to the next round.
Yeah,
that's all they need. They just, in this context, they just need not to lose.
Yeah, we can almost talk about a final, because if Portugal beat Italy, then they will have their destiny into their hands against Belgium, which is the weakest team in the group. So it would be a great coup for Portugal to win this one, and to not be eliminated.
Yeah, it's an opportunity.
Yes.
It's not something to be overawed at, because Italy aren't that good a team. They're only, I think it's 12th in the world. You know, like this isn't an elite team, and they really struggled in their first match in their 1-0 win against Belgium.
One thing that I like in the Women's Leagues, it's because it's easy to find tickets and go to the stadiums and have a good show. I was in Birmingham in September to watch the game between Wolverhampton and Liverpool for the Premier League, and the tickets were expensive, like £100.
Yeah,
and only for memberships. The other seats for not memberships, for the normal regular public, were sold out, and I returned to Birmingham without watching the game, and it's a little bit frustrating. In the women's competition, you go to the stadium, you buy the ticket, and you watch, and it's affordable. It's not a fortune. And they play well. They give you a good show. They entertain you. You come back happy, and you want to return to watch the games. It's a valuable championship.
Yes, it's accessible, isn't it? It's it's almost like being not only priced out, but it's like a club watching men's football, which is expensive, but also you need to pay for a membership so that you can buy the ticket. Yeah, I completely agree. I started taking my wife to women's matches about just after lockdown, because Arsenal women, this is when we lived in London, Arsenal women started playing at the Emirates, and such an amazing stadium to go and play at. It was like 50,000 against the game against Spurs, and tickets were less than £10 each. It was astonishing. So it's just joyful, and also just the atmosphere is more positive. It's fun to be there.
Yeah, you can go with your family all together to be gathering there and make a good afternoon. Well passed. Enjoy the game. Talk about it. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so before we end, I mean, I'll say, like, Mexico won the Gold Cup against the USA, but it was always going to be one of those. So it's funny, isn't it? There's not much to dissect from that match. But I've been giving you guys some trivia questions at the end of these sessions now. So I've got one for you. We were just talking about how wonderful the attendance is for the Women's Euros. So the highest attendance so far was Switzerland's opening match at St. Jakob's Park, which is 34,063. Okay? Keep that in mind. So 34,063. Here's your question. How many matches at the Club World Cup has that beaten? So for a context, there have been 60 matches at the FIFA Club World Cup. How many of them were fewer than 34,000 in attendance?
I say 8. 8 games.
You're going with 8, okay?
Fewer than
So
34,000. Oh, I think it's a lot. I would say about 20 or something like that. Yeah, 20.
The answer, Leo gets the point. It's 30. It's exactly half. So that match, Switzerland against Norway, had more people in attendance than half the matches at the FIFA Club World Cup. And we're going to follow this up with another question, similar thing. So the lowest attendance at the Women's Euros was Belgium against Italy, which was 7,544. How many matches at the FIFA Club World Cup had fewer than that?
I know that Mamelodi Sundowns had a game. There were 500 against, I think it was Ulsan. I will say, I would go with three games.
You're going with 3. Pedro?
I keep my 8. The mailman always knocked twice.
The answer, Leo, is spot on. It's 3. So also Mamelodi Sundowns was 3,412, but a lot of them left during the break. You had Pachuca Red Bull Salzburg, 5,200 odd, and you had astonishingly Benfica Auckland, only 6,700. So yeah, so the women's Euros putting the FIFA Club World Cup to shame.
Yeah, and the question is that was the worse attendance between Italy and Belgium was due to the overall capacity of the stadium? Yeah, that's what I
Well, think. I mean, it wasn't. Now, here's the thing. So I will be doing at the end of the tournament. I'll go through sort of statistics regards like attendance percentage. But I'll guarantee you that the percentage at the Women's Euros is significantly higher than the men's ones.
Because then, for example, today the match between Spain and Belgium, the capability of the stadium it's only 10,000.
Yeah, but then that's the kind of the beauty of the Women's Euros, right? That and actually any women's competition, say like the World Cup or European Championship, that it's a smaller scale than the men's game, but that allows other countries to bid for it. Mm-hmm. So Switzerland, they've never held a World. Actually, they did hold a World Cup. I think it was back in the 50s, but they don't have the stadium required to host that kind of competition. But scaling down, the planning behind, isn't it a great idea to have these small stadiums filled, as opposed to what Gianni Infantino has done with FIFA at the Club World Cup, which is let's have these enormous stadiums, and then obviously then they lower ticket prices rapidly. They've done the same thing for the semi-final. They're sort of rapidly dropping the prices because again they just haven't come close to the tickets sold. Yeah, so that goes down to the organisation, right? Choosing the stadium.
And remember one thing: if you ask in Switzerland for sports national heroes, they tell you about the ski sports, the great guys of ski who won Olympic medals, or maybe Fabian Cancellara, who was a very good cyclist from Switzerland. So soccer it's just showing up in that country. It's something with no more than 10 years.
That's a very fair point. Right, I think that brings us today to the end of today's episode. Unless you guys want anything else to say before we finish.
No, I just want to thank you both for being here for the 22 episode.
Yeah, Daniel, you make a very brilliant presentation today. Brilliant.
Thank you very much. I've got to say, Leo, I think you win this game because I think I've only been here for 18 of the 22, whereas I think you've been here for every single one.
Yeah, I think.
Bravo. Right, well, in that case, we'll get to the end. We'll see Leo tomorrow. The rest of us are questionable. But thank you so much for everybody for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Daniel.
We'll be recapping today's Women's Euros matches and probably something else. We'll decide then. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for playing.
Goodbye.
Have a great day.